As we all know, November 11th is Veterans Day, a day dedicated to recognizing the men and women of the United States military. But it's also just one day. So what about the other 364 days of the year? Well, our guest today will talk about the struggles of being a veteran and how they are helping other veterans transition back into civilian life. I'm Kat Witherspoon, filling in for Robin Young, and this is In Contact.
Be informed. We gotta know what's going on in our community. So together we can make a change, you and me. Yeah, be in contact.
It is my absolute pleasure to welcome our first guest, Ms. Teresa Edwards. She is a retired Air Force veteran with over 21 years of combined service. She has proudly served her country in numerous positions around the world. After her retirement, Mrs. Edwards co-founded Terror Dome Entertainment, Let's Get Your Life Back Productions, and Producers and Engineers Music Magazine. She's a mom, a wife, and a grandmother, and she's also the executive producer of several shows, including the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists' own In Contact. We are so happy to have her on the show, not as an executive producer or one of the hardworking folks behind the scenes, but as an honored guest. Teresa, let me start by thanking you for your service and for all that you do here at In Contact, not just as one of the busy and hardworking folks behind the scenes, but today as our honored guest. Let's get into the conversation. And what made you join the Air Force?
My mama made me.
Really?
She did. She, I graduated, getting close to graduation. She's like, okay, look here. Miss Lady, you got two choices. Either you go to school or you go into the military. And if you go into the military, it's Air Force only. So at 17, I knew I was not ready for college. You know, I didn't believe in wasting time, and I felt that I would be wasting time. So I went into the Air Force, and that was the best decision I've made.
Really? How so?
I enjoyed the extended family. So it doesn't matter, that we didn't grow up with each other or whatever. When you get in those situations, everybody is, that the person next to you got your back and watching, and you got his or hers. So I really enjoyed the camaraderie and the true teamwork, because everybody's getting out there. When there's something to do, everybody's getting out there, getting their hands dirty. Didn't matter. If it's a job that needs to be done, they was doing it, or we were doing it.
I love that. Now, what was your experience like as an African American woman in the military and the Air Force specifically?
Well, I mean, it's like anywhere else. There, you're going to have some issues, and you can recognize them when you come across them. So but there are things in place to try and counter that. So, but it's part of life. I would say, being overseas, I felt more, people didn't look at you as first being African American, then military. When you're overseas, you're military, or actually American, and then African American. So it was more of, oh, you're American, not so much of the color of my skin. So I truly enjoyed being overseas.
Where all have you traveled when you were in the military?
So I started off at Minot, North Dakota. And it's like my grandma said, you going overseas, baby? I'm like, no, grandma. We're just going up north. So we started off at Minot, North Dakota. Then that's where I had my daughter, matter of fact. And then we went to Guam. Was there in Guam for 3 years. And then I went to Germany for 3 years. Then I went to Holloman for about 2 years, where I got off of active duty and moved back to Atlanta, because I wanted my daughter to have more of stability, because when you're in the military, you're constantly moving. I wanted her to have those childhood friends, because I have a friend now that I've been knowing since 2nd grade, and see, we still talk. You can't have that in the military. So I got out, came back to Atlanta, went into the Guard, did about 6 years in the Guard, 7 years in the Reserve.
Interesting. Now I want to go back to the point that you made, that your mother gave you two choices. You either go to college or you go into the military, specifically the Air Force. If you were 17 years old today and your mother gave you that same ultimatum, which would you choose?
Knowing what I know today, I might think about it a little bit more. At that time then, it was no brainer. It was no brainer. But with so much technology, you know, so many options, I definitely probably would give it a little bit more thought.
And why is that?
I hate to say that man in charge, but he does play a part in this. But he does play a part in this. But it's just like I said, when I you know, trying not to date myself, but
Well, you look good.
thank you. But when I came in, you know, it wasn't as much technology it is now, or even you see the opportunities that these kids have now versus when I came in. So like even when I came in, they told me I had to be security police or law enforcement. And they was just opening it up to women. So they really pushed me into that. And I read the description for security police and I read the description for LE or law enforcement. The security police shoot more. They had more options, so I was like, that's what I want. So to get a chance to shoot the M60, that's how I chose security police.
So tell me, and you were in there for 21 combined years.
Yes.
Oh, wow. And when you retired, how was your transition from military life to civilian life? Was that hard for you?
It was challenging. Corporate America is not easy, especially when you're coming from the military, because in the military, a lot of us, you know, you've got all these medals or awards, you've made such a particular rank, and you manage people. But when you're coming into the civilian sector, you ain't managing nobody normally. You know, it's just a different world. And then I personally miss that closeness of that extended family, especially when you're overseas. We were truly family because we had. That was it, you know? So it was difficult in the transition to civilian life. I'm thankful because I did not see any combat, but on my own show, me and do talk, but I interviewed a veteran and he's taking medication and he's, you know, to cope with being on the civilian side, and unfortunately that's the blueprint of quite a few of us, quite a few of my fellow servicemen, you know, because it's not easy. It's truly, because especially I went in when I was 17, it's 18. I went in when I was 18, and that's all I knew, you know, and come back out here is just like,
Now, help me understand how now that you're a veteran and we're celebrating veterans and we do only have that one day, how could we as Atlanta, Georgia, and the world, how can we do a better job of showing our appreciation for veterans?
Make it more than one day, because there's so many vets out here that are needing help or just saying thank you for that service, that's a lot. That says a lot, especially if you've seen a lot and if you've lost stuff, because unfortunately divorce rates are high in the military because, you know, the spouses, they can't handle that rigorous schedule of a military person. So it's, you know, just saying thank you. I mean, that says a lot.
Thank you can go a long way.
Thank you can go a long way.
And what else can the public do to assist veterans that have
Get involved in groups like Vetlanta, and volunteer, and just volunteer, just see what's needed, what's helping, and especially getting into the job market, making that transition. You know, trying to let that military person say, okay, this is what I did, and help them to convert that to whatever the job market, the civilian world, you know, for that name.
For them.
Yeah,
So
that helps a lot, because when they're coming out, you do have a transition period. You probably have about a week, but then you're out, and you need that. I think you need more time to get acclimated back into the civilian world, especially when you're talking about job hunting, you know, the job market. You know, just that goes a lot. Just taking that time, like, hey, let me check out your resume. Let me help you.
So why did you retire from the military?
My daughter. So I got off of active duty because of her, because like I said before, I wanted her to have some stability. But then that's when Bin Laden started messing up and doing all this other stuff, and then I got activated, and I was like, wait, my child, she's in high school. That's a extremely critical time. I couldn't leave her. So I was like, I had enough time. So I made a choice to put her first. Even though I enjoyed the military, but I had to put my family first at that time because I could.
Good to know. And what is your most memorable experience in the military?
I would say I had a troop. I was her first supervisor. So she came in when she was 17. She's out of Florida, so she come in rah, rah, rah. So, but to see her blossom and become a woman, she has her own family. She was enlisted, then she decided to become an officer. She led her own command, and we still talk. And I was like, I'm truly proud of her, just from where that 17-year-old girl turned into a beautiful woman, mother, and a leader.
Wonderful.
She was a leader.
Is she still in the military?
She just retired.
She did.
She just retired.
Oh, wonderful. Well, when you see her next time, tell her I said thank you first.
Oh, I'm gonna tell
I
her.
appreciate that.
Her birthday coming up next week.
Oh, and happy birthday as well. All right.
Thank you.
Well, we are going to end. I think, unfortunately, we can talk all day, but tell me or tell the folks out there how they can get in contact with you.
Well, they can reach me on my website is www.mizzzentertainment.com. You can hit me up there or all the social medias.
Awesome. All right. Well, I hate to see you go, but I do want to say once more, thank you for not only what you do here for AIB, but what you have done for our country. And we're going to have folks out there stay tuned for more In Contact.
I worked for Georgia Power for 38 years.
Yeah, Wendell has been doing these ramps for a long time. He knows what needs to be done.
We've all worked around each other for years. It's just a good feeling when you get through with one. It's just a blessing to us to know that we can get out and help somebody else.
There you go. Feel good to you?